The 2013 property revaluation has caused an unusual situation in Winston-Salem. As a result, most city homeowners could actually pay less in city property taxes next year, even though the proposed budget would raise the property tax rate by 3.9 cents. How much city tax you pay depends on how the revaluation affected your property value. For more than 60% of city property owners, the revaluation lowered their property value by at least 8%. If you fall into this category, your city tax bill would go down under the tax rate that the city manager has recommended to City Council. If your house value decreased by less than 8%, or if it went up in value, then you would pay more in city taxes. But even in this case, your tax bill would go up less than it might have. That's because the proposed tax rate is not revenue neutral. In other words, it would not bring in as much in property taxes as the current tax rate. Here's how it works. The tax base for the 2012-2013 budget was $21.7 billion. This is the value of all property in the city limits, and it was calculated before the recession lowered property values. The tax rate last year was 49.1 cents for every $100 of value. This brought in $104.2 million in property taxes. The 2013-14 tax base is $19.7 billion. This is 9% less and reflects the decline in property values. To bring in the same amount of money, the tax rate would have to be 54.25 cents. This would be the revenue neutral rate. However, the proposed budget calls for a tax rate of 53 cents, which would bring in only $102.3 million. As we said, how this affects your city tax bill depends on how revaluation affected your property value. If your house was worth $100,000 last year and did not change in value, you paid $491 in city taxes last year. You would pay $530 in city taxes under the proposed rate. But remember, this is less than what you would have paid under a revenue neutral rate. If your house dropped in value by 8% to $92,000, you would pay $488 in city taxes under the proposed rate. That's $3 less than last year. It is worth repeating that more than 60% of all city property owners saw their property value decline by 8% or more. If you fall into this category, your city tax bill would be lower under the proposed tax rate. To help you determine the change in your property value, the city has posted a calculator on its website, cityofws.org. If you need some help calculating the change, call CityLink at 311 and a CityLink agent will be happy to help you. To use the calculator, you'll need to know last year's and this year's tax value. You can find last year's tax value on your previous tax bill or online through the county website. This year's tax value is listed in the revaluation notice that you received in the mail. You can read more about the budget on the city website. Copies of the budget are also available at public libraries and City Hall. After you review the budget, use the online form to submit your comments. You can also call the Citizen Feedback Line at 734-1400 or attend public hearings on the budget at 7 p.m. June 6th and 17th. Both hearings will be in the Council Chamber in City Hall at 101 North Main Street.